This is the Warminster Town Supporter Podcast, and I'm your host, Roland Millward. Well, the Warminster Town boys went down to Wincanton and got stung by the Wasps. Let's talk about football now with our usual man, Jamie House. Hello there, Jamie. How are you doing today?
Not too bad, thank you. You?
Good. Yeah, pretty well. Thanks very much indeed. So we've had a weekend of football. Went down for our little trip to see the Wasps at Wincanton Town FC, and we got stung by them. What's your view on the game?
Yeah, it was almost a game of two halves. I'd say we were the better team in the first half. I think we were playing some good attacking football in sort of first half an hour or so. Had a few opportunities on goal. The first goal we scored, excellent first time volley from Evan Mortimer-Taylor across the face of goal into the top right corner. And then sort of, I don't know, was it about 10 minutes, I think, from half time or thereabouts. Wincanton got awarded a penalty, much to the displeasure of the Warminster bench. And they netted that, and it was kind of one-way traffic, I think, after that.
More so, yeah. I think that it was a bit thrown, that penalty, because at the end of the day, it wasn't really. The referee didn't give it himself, did he? He went across and asked the linesman.
No.
He didn't say anything wrong. The linesman was busy frantically flying his flag and waving it around. And just before they were given the penalty, literally, one of our players had been tripped, so it should have been a foul and a free kick to Warminster for the same offence. In
exactly.
Essence.
Yeah.
And that was the problem with the bench calling out, saying this is a problem. You know, why have we got the free kick and you've given the penalty? It's the same thing in the same few seconds apart.
Exactly. So, the officials, I don't think, had a particularly good game. For that game, I did post that on Twitter and got a rather stern remark back from someone associated with Wincanton, saying,
"Oh, did you? All right."
saying the only thing he got wrong was not giving the penalty, and his linesman corrected him, which is what I got, which is fine when you're on the side that benefits from the referee's mistakes. So
Yeah. You can look at it either way, can't you? When you're a football fan, yes, yeah. But anyway, so I thought the first half we were creating chances. Francois Allen almost got his foot on one. He's sliding into the box, and he just missed that fantastic cross from Jack Millock. So that would have made it more interesting. That would have made it a couple of goals. So I think that would have taken the stuffing out a little bit more if that would have happened before they scored. But it didn't happen. And Wincanton seems to be one of those grounds we go to. I don't know. I haven't looked back through the history of going to Wincanton, but every time I've been, we've always struggled a little bit down there.
Yeah, I mean, this was only, I think, my second trip. I think I missed last season's trip there. But yeah, we've not had the best of times travelling there, sadly. But there we go.
So we're going to move onwards and upwards, though, this coming Saturday, because we've got the high-flying Wells City coming to see us. And they're currently in third place. I know we'll review the tables in a moment. We had a good game down there, though, apart from the fact that giving away a free kick at the last minute, and we saw them score and make it 3-2 down there. So how do you see the game going at Warminster with this lot?
Well, we know we've got the team to beat every team in our league. It's just getting in that mindset to do it. I mean, going back to the Bitten game again, obviously comparing it to Bitten again, obviously, but that's the best Warminster I think have probably ever played. For some reason, we just can't carry that into the league for whatever reason. But if we play like that, I mean, Wells wouldn't stand a chance. I don't think. And we nearly got a draw with them at their place. They were very dangerous from set pieces. Hopefully, we'll have learnt our lesson about that this time around. Because I think 2 of their 3 goals came from set. In fact, all 3 of them might have come from set pieces. So that's something to be wary of, I think.
Yeah, they're all very similar in the ball. The ball crossed in from outside the 18 yards into the box. And then, in fact, they had quite a few chances. They had exactly the similar sort of balls in and were just knocking them wider over the bar. So they got 3 out of quite a few similar opportunities. So they need to be very wary of them crossing balls into the box if they've got the same sort of lineup as they had at home on that day. So I'm sure Andy will have the boys ready for that one.
Well, we did score 2 goals against them last time, so
that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, if you score goals, and that's what we want to get back to, scoring some goals, and then
we're a bit struggling a bit on the goal scoring side at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah, so if we can get the goals, then it can equate for you can let 1 or 2 in. But if you let 1 or 2 in and not scoring the goals, you've got a big problem. So that's obviously need to be addressed. So let's have a think then. Oh, I'll tell you what, before we look at the league tables, let's have a little bit mention. We know now that our League Cup quarter-final is down at Tavistock. Been a great game at the weekend, wouldn't it? Except it's going to be on a Wednesday night. What do you think of that?
It's ridiculous. I mean, it is ridiculous. You know, a midweek game, having to travel all that distance for a 7:30 kickoff as well. You know, it's on a working day. You know, none of these players, you know, do football as a job. You know, do this as a job. They all have jobs during the day, and it's ridiculous. I really do think it's ridiculous for that sort of distance on an evening midweek. You know, I mean, all the way down to Plymouth. I mean, it's
well, it's 121 miles.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 hour journey.
Hours on a good journey, and of course, it's going to be commuter traffic in some of that if you go. Unless you go really early. It's so unbelievable to ask a club. So
it is really.
The home side advantage will be enormous, I would imagine.
It'll be ridiculous if we can even get a team together. It's you know, I think it's going to be a challenge.
I would hope that maybe somebody will let us play it on a Saturday. You never know. I don't know what the rules are on that, but I know it's a midweek cup affair. But once it gets to this kind of distance, then surely common sense should prevail. And let's say, we don't mind an away trip, but let's make it on a day off. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Just rearrange one of the league games to an evening instead. You know, I can't imagine it would take that much. You know, shifting around. It's only 2 teams at the end of the day, so. Yeah, it's. I do find that very crazy.
Well, if it's not rearranged, it's February the 19th. For everybody listening, Tavistock AFC versus Warminster Town. It's a big game for both clubs in that sense of trying to progress through, you know, quarter-final. And it would be such a shame if we went out the fact we couldn't put a full team together on the night, you know. So. Let's see what happens, and we'll keep people posted as things develop there. Toolstation Western League Division 1 then. How's it looking after the weekend's activities, Jamie?
Well, Calm Town have taken the lead at the top of the league with 44 points to ahead of Longwell Green after they beat Longwell Green, I believe, at the weekend. Was it Carl that beat Longwell?
Actually, if you think of that, it was...
I probably should have looked this up before. No, sorry, Can't beat Wells.
Can't beat Wells.
Can't beat Wells. Yes, sorry. Yes. And Longwell was actually lost to Cheddar. So Cheddar getting a win over the team that were on top at the time. So they've taken the lead, 2 points ahead of Longwell, and they also have 2 games in hand on them as well. They've only played 20 games, Calm Town. Longwell have played 22. So Calm Town looking a bit dangerous at the moment. Obviously, Longwell have now dropped to second. Wells, who we are facing at the weekend, are in third. Sherborne had a big turnaround this season. They're up there in fourth. I believe they won Team of the Month, I think, last month. I believe. Yeah. So there's that. Then Ashton and Backwell are fifth. They round out the top 5. Corsham are 6th, Radstock 7th, Wincanton 8th, Cheddar 9th, Bishop's Lydia 10th, Oldham Napatonians 11th. There's a lot of moving about in the middle of the table at the moment. There's been a lot of wins and losses. Obviously, like I say, Cheddar beaten Longwell. That's a mid-table team that have picked up some points against a higher league team. So it's kind of fluctuating in the middle a bit. Lebeca 12th, just above us, now in 13th. We've obviously slipped to another couple of places after the defeat to Wincanton this weekend. Hengrove just below us, equal on points. Portishead then are 15th, Albanbury 16th, Welton 17th. Devizes, Bishop Sutton and the Phones obviously are still rock bottom.
Yes. Nothing much changes down at Bristol Phones, does it? Even though they say they've had some good performances and scored some goals. They still end
Yeah,
up
I
on the
mean, they
losing
didn't
side.
seem like a terrible side when they played us at home. So, I
No.
mean, one of their only 2 wins came against us at our place. So,
yes, well, there you go. Make sure we don't lose when we eventually get to them. No, our match was postponed at their place the other day due to their cup commitments, and even that match was postponed as well. It turned out.
Yes.
There you go. Surprising one, I think, in the league for me is actually Devizes Town being third from bottom.
Yeah.
Bit of a surprising one, that. And but there you go. That's just the wonder of non-league football and Western League football.
It is indeed.
Is you can be up 1 minute, down the next, and vice versa. And as you say, if you look at the middle of the table, well, even more than the middle actually, if you went, say, from Corsham Town in 6th with 36 points, and you get down to, say, 25 points, that's down to 14th. And it's, anything can change in that little group.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The middle of the pack is actually still very close.
Yeah, 2 or 3 wins and you lose 2 or 3, and it changes enormously in that. So Warminster now, say, just in that sort of grouping. So a few wins could actually change that considerably for Warminster's point of view as well. I don't think we're going to win the league this year, sadly.
No. It's considering we were favourites at the start of certainly
one of the ranking.
One of the contenders for possible winning, or certainly being up in the top half, very near the top half of the table. It just goes to show that football doesn't always pan out the way people think it does.
No, we did have a fantastic FA Vase. That was brilliant. And if we can get this right with the League Cup and we get a Tavistock win, that would be a fantastic League Cup. It'd be great if we could change the day and the time, as it were. But let's see what happens on that front. We'll not go over the old ground again. Right. So, what other news have we got, Jamie? So that's the next game. Then is Wells City on Saturday. No midweek games this week. After Wells City, we have got we're away at Oldham Abertonian.
Yeah, yes. So another trip to
unless we've got any of our postponement. That's it. Yes, and then we've got a midweek match. Is that midweek match after that? No, it's another Saturday.
Another Saturday one.
Another Saturday. So we've got to keep an eye on the fixture list because we've had a few, like Bristol Telephones. They could be rearranged, and we could end up with an evening slotted in somewhere along the way. So we'll change the fixtures.
We do have an evening game coming up. Oh, that is actually against Devizes Town. That's a midweek game on the 26th of February at home.
Yes. I've got to change that one onto the website as well. Actually, that's another one that's
also
been
Oldham Abertonians the week after as well on the 4th of March. It's also a midweek game at home.
Yes, well, I think the Oldham Abertonians match we've got coming up should have been the second match playing them, and the one after would have been the first match of the season, if my memory serves me correctly. With adjustments been made. Yeah, I think that's the game. Yes, so postponements have occurred due to cup matches and all sorts of things, haven't they? Weather, so it's a question of catching up. Interesting the fact that Wincanton, they were saying in the programme, they've actually they've got to play twice a week for 7 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Missing all their games during December.
They've got to. Well, they had that big gap of
not playing any
end of
December
games
and
through January, without playing any games. So they've got to catch up. Of course, if any of those get postponed, it's going to get even worse, isn't it?
I was going to say they're going to be playing every day towards the end of the season.
So this is the joy of non-league football grounds and bad weather, etc. It can affect us quite badly. What was that? So there is a move, and I think we should start a little campaign to start playing more matches right at the beginning of the season when the weather's good and you've got some lovely summer evenings still going on.
Yes, that would be nice. Yes, because early on in the season when we was still at the tail end of the nice summer weather, it was very pleasant watching the football in the warm sunshine.
Warm sunshine, yeah. So let's have a campaign. More matches August, September, and then if you get this bad weather, it's not going to affect it so much as it does currently. So once again, Jamie, thanks for joining us here on the podcast, and
You're very welcome.
Look forward to seeing you at the weekend and see what happens when high-flying Wells City come to Weymouth Street. Thanks a lot. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Warminster Town Football Club Supporter Podcast. It's great that you've been here, and I do hope that you will subscribe to this podcast, and I look forward to speaking to you again in the future.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.